Skeletal Light, Report 1. Do not be afraid. That's what it said. I was drawn to its light. It showed me something. It was like being told the truth. A horrible end to all. These are our final moments. Father Ross. This is what was written on the note that was found on the corpse of Father Ross. Surrounding him in the church was his congregation, all of them equally deceased. There were barely any marks on them, as they had all decided to consume a fast-acting poison. Every member of Ross's church agreed to follow the pastor in death, taking their lives as easily as he did. For all that they were dead, the people merely seemed to be asleep with small, blissful smiles. It looked like they could wake up at any moment and share the beautiful dreams they'd had. But there is no waking up, not from taking your life. And the cause of it was in the center of the room. Replacing the cross was a twisted, profane shrine composed of bones, blood, and organs, obtained from a wide variety of animals. In the middle was a small doll made of sticks. It looked like the skeleton of an angel, except the head was an illuminated light bulb. There was no obvious power source, but that bulb that was the doll's head glowed and dimmed randomly. When the back of the church was searched, it was found that all the missing crosses had been broken down into scrap wood. The statues and iconography had been smashed into rubble with a sledgehammer. Decorating every inch of the walls were bundles of paper that had been nailed into place, each one containing pages from the Bible that had been ripped out and scribbled over and over with questions, ranting, and exclamations. The level of blasphemous horror inside stood in terrible contrast to the peaceful dead outside. Father Ross seemed to have issues with his faith near the end. This was an expected outcome, especially considering the creature we are dealing with. This mass suicide was not a novel event. In fact, it wasn't even the first to have occurred this month. It is only one of a spate of recent suicides that the Skeletal Light is responsible for. Like the doll discovered, the creature resembled the skeleton of an angel. One twisted by evil and corruption. Standing at a height roughly matching that of a traffic light, the Skeletal Light has long limbs that barely function. The arms drag behind it, and the bones on its back that form the shape of crude wings don't allow it to fly. Occasionally they twist and move, but they aren't functional. The creature can barely move, even when it does something besides stand in place. It also may be missing a head, because where the head would be is a bright, intense light that is circled by an even brighter halo. Taking pictures of the thing or trying to filter out the light has failed to work. So, how does it move? Well, the Skeletal Light can travel from light source to light source. It does so in a spectacular manner, appearing to descend from the sky in a parody of a heavenly messenger. But this creature is evil, and it delights in corrupting people of faith. That's its only goal, really, to ruin faith and destroy those who are believers. It is not restricted to those of Abrahamic faith. It has been seen tormenting Buddhist victims, and there has even been a documented case of a group of Scientologists falling prey to its abuse. But how can it torment people when it can barely move? Well, people of strong faith who look upon the light don't see the horrible creature that the Skeletal Light really is. Instead, their subconscious mind projects its own image of a cosmic being onto the creature, making them believe that they are looking upon the divine. People claim that they hear a voice in their hearts, one that tells them that it can show them the truth of everything. All of the answers of the universe will be given, and all they have to do is believe that it means them nothing but love and harmony. This is a lie. This creature is something else, something wrong. When a person accepts the skeletal messenger into their hearts, it does tell them something. That something is specific to each individual, but it is always a truth that will destroy them utterly. The truth it shares shatters the person's faith. Their faith that good can exist in the world, that there is a point to being a good person, that there is even a point to living. This usually leads to people giving up on everything or becoming an amoral anarchist. Both options eventually lead to their death, either by suicide or death by cop. There is also a worse option where they become fanatically loyal to the Skeletal Light, doing whatever it tells them to in order to hear more of its truth. Many of these people have come together to form the cult called the Final Truth. These Final Truthers pretty much run as a global terrorist cult, bombing places of worship, desecrating holy sites, and attacking clergy. When caught, most will take their own lives rather than be taken into custody. After one such incident following an attempt on the Pope's life, the person was able to be restrained and captured by the soldiers of the Swiss Guard, the Pontiff's personal army. Under ancient agreement between the agency and the Vatican, the terrorist was transferred into agency custody, both to learn more about the Skeletal Light and to find out its current location. Using some creative information retrieval techniques, including the use of several drugs unique to the agency, the criminal was forced into a trance-like state. It made him answer each question that was asked to the best of his ability. Of course, he wouldn't remember doing so once the drugs wore off. The first question asked was the current location of the Skeletal Light. The answer led the agency to the remains of Father Ross and his congregation. The second question was what exactly the Skeletal Light had told him to cause such a radical change. With madness in his eyes, he told us. It told him the truth. When pressed about the nature of his truth, he seemed almost in a rage, though the drugs kept him emotionless. He stated that the Lightbringer, the Final Truther's title for the Skeletal Light, told him that nothing he did or thought mattered, that he was cosmic ash that had zero impact upon the universe at large, that nothing matters, and everything he would ever do, hope, or pray for will amount to absolutely nothing but a waste of life. That is a very common and cynical argument that is espoused by regular human beings every day. That alone is nothing that would cause a deeply religious person to change their whole life view. To the interviewing agent's surprise, the terrorist agreed. He said that of course it wasn't enough to just say it. What made the word of the Lightbringer different is that it backed up its words with action. It showed them. Within one blink, the Lightbringer can force you to acknowledge the enormous scale of the universe and your place within it. A single moment where you learn your entire purpose. Despite the drug's emotion-dampening effects, the man began to weep as he finished. Not merely to believe, but to know that you are nothing. To internalize that truth in every cell. That is what the Lightbringer gifted to them. The interviewer had to leave the room and take a break after that. While he was absent, the prisoner took his own life by holding his breath until he died.